Hello, my name is Jason. He is
Monty.
And welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be studying Matthew chapter 23, verse 17. And I'm reading the King James Version first and then follow that up with the New International Version. It says, "Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifieth the gold?" Now I'm reading the New International Version, which is a really good version. It says, "You blind fools, which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes that gold sacred?" Now, you can talk a little bit about that before I give the context.
Well, in the chapter of Matthew 23, Jesus is basically chewing out the Pharisees, which he is great at chewing people out, which I love. But basically, this is just a side note as he's talking about their hypocrisy and all that good stuff, because of people who would swear by the temple or by the temple's gold.
Which, if history, I believe that was something that did go on quite a bit. So he was sort of, not only was he making a rhetorical point, he was also really taking from what they were actually doing. I mean, that's important.
If you look like old westerns and stuff, people would still say something like, "I swear by my mother's grave," or something like that. Something really important
where
to
you were
them.
going with that. I really didn't. But
yeah.
Okay.
But basically, this is just a side note. He just kind of throws out there, which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred. Which basically what he's trying to say is what is greater? Is it what you see, or what makes what you see so spectacular? What came to my mind is, I think that the point of Jesus is trying to make is not what you see that makes it. It is, in fact, what affects what you see. We find that hypocrisy is easy to hide under good deeds, words, and dress. But the truth is, what sanctifies the righteous is what makes them righteous.
Oh, that's good. Now, a little bit of context, so you can sort of understand really the big picture of what's going on. And the chapter starts off, and Jesus had just been telling the parable of the marriage feast, and I believe we talked about that a couple times before, so no need to go into it. And he was talking to his disciples, and he just, after a recent encounter with the Pharisees, and he tells them to have respect for their office, keep the commandments that they give, but he tells them, and I'm paraphrasing of course, he says, do not listen to them, don't take them as examples, because basically they're hypocrites. They tell you to do one thing, but they're doing the complete opposite. You know, they make all these hard laws and hoops for you to jump through, and they won't even lift a finger to do any of them. So it's completely crazy, and please don't listen to them. And he tells them, don't act like they do. And then he condemns their arrogance, their hypocrisy, and several other things. And he goes on, and he just cleans house in this chapter, and he really does it in fantastic ways. And at one point, one of my favorite parts in this is Matthew 23:15, and he's talking about it, and he says, "You Pharisees," and I believe he's addressing the Pharisees when he says it. He's like, "You go out to the sea to find somebody, a new convert, and you take them into yourself, and you make them twice as much of a son of hell as you are." And now imagine back in the day, this was pretty crazy to be saying this to a Pharisee, like the high religious sect of that day, and that's pretty crazy. But Jesus did this. Not only now, I would argue also that this was a big reason of why the Pharisees wanted to kill him, is that he didn't listen to them, and he just spoke out. He didn't care what they thought. He was going to speak the truth no matter what. And this is interesting passage, and I love that this entire passage serves to represent one of the main reasons of why he even did this, and that is he wanted to break down those stupid barriers that the religious people had put up between God and man. And he said, you know what? I'm tired of you using these barriers to just promote yourself instead of promoting me. So you know what? I'm going to erase all this junk that you've been putting up, and I'm going to develop a relationship with my people, not you. And that's the beautiful part about this scripture, that serves to represent the point that you were talking about, and the fact that he wanted to break down these barriers, and it's not about what's on the outside, it's about what's on the inside. And that's what Jesus was getting to, and that's the heart that he wants most. So thank you for watching. If you missed it, our 3rd-year anniversary special came out Wednesday, or Friday, excuse me. If you really want to, go and watch that. It'll be linked down below. Thanks for watching. My name is Jason. He is
Monty.
Signing off.